welcome to Tasty Treats with Miss Terri. Today we are going to be making chocolate lasagna. So things that we're going to be needing are chocolate syrup, vanilla instant pudding, chocolate instant pudding, some cream cheese, half cup of butter, some chocolate sprinkles, 1 cup powdered sugar, 3 cups milk, 16 ounces of Cool Whip, and a whole bag of regular chocolate Oreos. Materials that we're going to be needing to bake our chocolate lasagna are a blender, a measuring cup, a mixing spoon, a microwave safe bowl, another bowl or cup to hold our extra Oreos, a baking pan, and a mixing bowl. All right, let's get started. So the first step that we are going to be starting with is using our blender and crushing up all of our Oreos. Now, my blender can only take so many Oreos, so I'm just going to put a couple at a time. Ideally, we're gonna want to use the whole case of regular chocolate Oreos. You do not wanna get the double stuffed for it, just because it's really the cookie part that we want and not so much the creamy part, even though that is my personal favorite of any Oreo. So I'm gonna put it in my blender, or if you have a food processor at home, and we're gonna start. Now this is gonna be a little loud, so fair warning. All right, and we're gonna just pour it into a bowl, and you're gonna repeat this process until all of your Oreos are done. All right, now that we have crushed our Oreos, that's what mine looks like. It's nice, and mine kind of reminds me of coffee grinds. We are going to scoop out 1 cup, and we're gonna put this cup to the side because we will be using it later. All right, so I'm just gonna put this to the side. And now I'm going to take a stick of butter, or a half cup of butter, and mine is frozen right now, so I'm actually going to stick it in the microwave, because once it's nice and melted, we are going to then mix it in with our Oreos. So let me heat it up and I will come back. All right, now that I have my bowl of melted butter, I'm going to pour it into my Oreos, and we're going to stir. This is going to create a paste that will help us have the base of our lasagna. A nice chocolatey base. And actually, because I do have some Oreos, and mine's a little too runny, I'm going to still kind of take it just to thicken it, and then we'll crush some more Oreos in a bit just to complete that cup for our later filling. Joys of cooking. You can just improvise as you go. So long as you have extra. Yeah, that's having a nice, good, thick chocolate paste. And again, this is not going to be super smooth just because it's cookies. We'll just make a whole new cup later. I ended up using that. All right, so now that my paste is nice and thick, I'm going to layer it on my bowl. spread it out. All right. And now we are going to stick it in the fridge to chill. I would leave it in there for about 15 minutes just to make sure that it's nice and solid, but we're gonna be using the fridge a lot today, so I will be right back. All right, I have taken my pan from the fridge and we are going to be working on our second layer of lasagna. Things that we're going to be needing are our mixing bowl with spoons, our measuring cup, powdered sugar, whipped cream, or Cool Whip, not whipped cream, and our cream cheese. So, I am going to start it off with our powdered sugar just because it's our dry material, and so with my measuring cup, nothing will stick to it. And we are going to be using 1 cup of powdered sugar. I'm just gonna pour it in there. Good tap. All right, and now I'm going to take my Cool Whip, and it asks for 16 ounces, which equals 2 cups. See what I mean about it getting stuck on the cup? All right. And we are going to take our cream cheese and we're going to mix it all together. And like many mixtures, we want to make sure all the powder is mixed together and that it's a nice, smooth consistency. I might just put my hands and get straight into this. That's always fun. I love using my hands for baking and cooking. It just feels more authentic. So now that my mixture is all mixed together, we are going to carefully spread it out onto our first layer. Now you're gonna wanna be careful when you're spreading this out. So I would use a little spatula, a little baking spatula, and try to get it as best you can across the pan. Make sure no chocolate is peeking out from our first layer. All right, so now I am going to stick this again in the fridge and we will work on our next layer of lasagna. All right, now that we have our first 2 layers done, we're gonna work on our third layer. So we're gonna take our puddings and our milks, and we are going to mix it all together. I'm going to pour our puddings mixtures in first. You don't have to, but I'm just going to kind of mix the 2 together. There we go. Alrighty. Put these to the side for the trash. And now we're going to take our measuring cup and we're going to be pouring 3 cups of water. Oof! 3 cups of milk. Do not do water, milk. That's what we need for our pudding. 1, 2. Now we are going to slowly stir the pudding until all the powder is mixed together. Now I am really curious how this pudding is going to taste because I've never had vanilla pudding mixed with chocolate pudding before. So there's a first for everything. Again, you want to make sure all the bubbles are smushed, so if you want to use a fork, that could also help you, or a whisk. Get all those pesky powder bubbles out of the way. All right, so now my mixture is all mixed together, and I'm going to take my pan and we are going to slowly start pouring the pudding onto our pan. And just like we did with the second layer putting it on, you want to be very careful with spreading it, especially because the second layer is so soft. So it's going to spread more easily. So it might help if you kind of like do a little dab method. Might help if you could see that. A little dab method, just like this. And it doesn't have to look perfect. I always think with food, if it tastes good, that's what matters. I'm starting to smell the chocolate from the pudding and I'm so excited to eat this. I love chocolate. Kind of want to smooth it out. All right, so there we have it. It's getting nice and heavy. Now I'm going to go stick this in the fridge and we will be making our 4th layer. All right, and now the last layer. I brought my pan out. We're going to need our whipped cream. I have some chocolate sprinkles, but if you want to put some crushed chocolate on there, and my chocolate syrup. And I re-crushed some Oreos and we have my cup of Oreos. So let's get this top layer on. And again, similar to the other layers, you want to spread it out very carefully. Don't be too hard on it. Take your time. Again, it doesn't have to look perfect. So long as it tastes good, whoop, that's all that matters. All right, so I have my Cool Whip on top, and now I'm going to take my chocolate syrup drizzle it all over. I'm gonna put a couple of layers of chocolate syrup. Ooh, got over the edge there. And then I'm going to carefully sprinkle. You can use the whole thing. You can use half, however much chocolate you want, because this is your chocolate lasagna. So I'm just going to layer it. And if you don't want Oreos on top, then you're fine with just the Cool Whip. That's cool too. Again, this is your recipe. All right. Nice and sticky. And then I'm gonna pour some more chocolate on there, because can you have enough chocolate? I don't think so. And if that wasn't enough chocolate, we are going to pour some sprinkles on there. And if you want to have a touch of color, you can do different sprinkles. I just thought chocolate sprinkles for chocolate lasagna would be delicious. All right, and I'm going to stick this back in our fridge to let it cool. And I would give it about an hour just to have everything set. And then you are ready to eat. Until next time, enjoy!